Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon is a great man who inspired humanity to construct a world of peace. He had strived to bring together various races, cultures, religions, and promote mutual understanding and respect among them. He had also held many peace talks and rallies all over the world. He was a well-respected man as he has dedicated his entire life to serve heaven and all mankind. Sacrifice, selflessness, dedication, and persistence are only a few of the many fine qualities he had demonstrated throughout his life. However, few realized that behind this great man was an untold history, untold story of intense hardships and suffering. Despite the bleak circumstances he confronted, he was still able to demonstrate true and sacrificial love to those around him. These stories eventually touched the hearts of many all over the world. Hence, in the following onstage performance, titled The Crown of Glory, some parts of his incredible life course will be reenacted. Let's welcome the bubbling youth generation.
Good evening, teacher. You're so interesting in your life. Good evening, everyone. Please take a seat.
Teacher, can you please continue sharing with us your stories? We would like to hear more.
What would you like to hear about?
Could you continue where you left off?
Where did I stop?
You were talking about how you got a job at Kashima Group Construction Company in Yongsan to support your family while also carrying out church work.
Oh yes, I did. It was peaceful for a while. However, in October 1944, the Japanese suddenly stormed into our home and took me to Gyeonggi Province Police Station. I was wrongly accused of being a communist. Once at the police station, I was immediately subjected to tortures and unreasonable questionings. I went through multiple interrogations where I was brutally tortured so that the Japanese police could have an alibi for proving my friends, whom I've worked with, are communists. I denied everything. Despite knowing that this was a matter of life and death, I still denied all false claims. I felt that if I had not done so, many more people could have died. Maybe tens, hundreds, or even thousands of lives could have been lost. The tortures only got worse the more I denied. I was beaten with a table until all 4 lead sticks were broken. I was electrocuted countless times till I passed out. Water was force-fed into my mouth until my stomach was bloated, and then stomped on with spiked military boots. I was whipped while hanging from the ceiling, and swung back and forth like a slab of meat. Every time I went unconscious, cold water was used to wake me up, and the tortures continued. I could not even get a second to rest. Soon, blood was spewing everywhere, and my body was so badly swollen that I could not even move. Finally, in February 1945, my ordeal came to a pause. My dying body was thrown out into the snow because the torturers thought I was dead. Now, I had to fight to recover. It took me several months before I was able to move again. My ordeal did not end here. These 5 months of torture was only the beginning. I was later sent to Daedong prison in Pyongyang and transferred to Hungnam Special Labor Camp on May the 20th, 1948. Hungnam Special Labor Camp was well known as the prisons of prisons. My prison number was 596. Ordinary people found it difficult to endure Hungnam prison due to the excessive workload, cold and hunger, and the endless exposure to noxious ammonium sulfate fertilizers there. The strategy to the communist government was to force people to do heavy labor until they died. Almost all prisoners in Hungnam prison died within 3 years. Being sentenced to that camp was like a death sentence. The huge amount of workload given to the prisoners in Hungnam is unimaginable and almost impossible to fulfill. A group of 10 men with decent meals will be able to fill up 700 bags of fertilizers a day at best. But in the labor camp, we had to fill and carry almost twice that amount. Yet, the food that was provided was so small, it amounted to only 3 spoonfuls. It was unimaginably miserable. Prisoners were also exposed to sulfuric acid, which was used in the manufacture of ammonium sulfate. Exposure to sulfuric acid was so harmful that it would cause hair loss and sores on our skin that lose liquid. Most people who worked in the factory would begin vomiting blood and die after about 6 months. We would wear rubber pieces on our fingers for protection, but the acid would quickly wear through these. The acid fumes would also eat through our clothing, making them useless, and our skin would break and bleed. In some cases, the bone would become visible. We had to continue working without so much as a day's rest, even when our sores were bleeding and losing pus. We were organized in teams of 10, and each team was responsible to fill and load 1,300 bags a day. So each person had to fill 130 bags. If a team failed to meet its quota, its meal rations were cut in half. Everyone worked as if his life depended on making the quota. During meal times, the guards would call us and we would quickly rush to line up to get our food. We were always in an extreme state of hunger, so getting into the queue faster would mean that we could eat earlier. Our meal rations consisted of less rice than it took to fill 2 small bowls. There were no side dishes, but we were given a soup that was radish greens and salt water. Beginning with my first day in prison, I made it a habit to take half of my ration of rice and give it to my fellow prisoners, keeping only half for myself. I treated myself this way for 3 weeks, and then ate the whole ration. This made me think that I was eating enough rice for 2 people, which made it easier to endure the hunger. The food in Hunan was almost inedible. However, the unbearable hunger made us swallow our food in minutes. The soup was so salty it made our throats burn, but the rice was so hard we could not eat it without washing it down with the soup. No one ever left even a single drop of the soup. I guess you may have experiences where you beat down a stone in the rice and spit it out. But in Hunan, when people spit out stones, others pick them up and suck them. People were starving to that degree. It went on and on like this. People were so desperate for food that if a prisoner died at mealtime, the others would dig up any rice still in his mouth and eat it themselves. The pain of hunger can only be known by those who have experienced it. When a person is hungry, a mere grain of rice becomes very precious. Even now, it makes me tense just to think of him now. It's hard to believe that a single grain of rice can give such stimulation to the body. But when you are hungry, you have such a longing for food, it makes you cry. When a person has a full stomach, the world seems big.
When a person has a full stomach, the world seems big. But a hungry person, a grain of rice is greater than the earth. A grain of rice takes on an enormous value to someone with hunger.
In Hunan, during the winter, the temperature dropped to minus 23 degrees Celsius. I wore only thin unlined clothes. Still, I did not think it was cold enough. There was a daily roll call where the prison guards will conduct for 2 hours to check for any contrabands. The guards would pat us down thoroughly, making sure there wasn't any contraband. These 2 excruciating hours felt much longer than it actually was, as we shivered uncontrollably in this harsh winter. I overcame these brutally freezing conditions by thinking, let it get colder, let it get colder, let it get colder. My mother visited me many times while I was in prison, especially during winters. There was no direct transportation from Jeonju to Yongnam. She had to take a train to Seoul, where she would change to a train on the Seoul to Wonsan line. The trip would take her more than 20 grueling hours. Before starting out, she would go to great trouble to prepare me sukara, or buttered rice for me, so that her son, who had been in prison in the prime of his life, would have something to eat. To make this powder, she would gather rice from our relatives, and even the distant relatives of my older sister's husbands. she would travel a few hours on foot to each household, just to gather the little amount of rice. It could often take her 2 full days to travel to all of our relatives' houses. Then, she would spend another few hours to grind the rice into powdered rice. Food was extremely precious and difficult to get in those times. So, it's hard to imagine how much suffering she went through because of the love she had for her son. When she came to the prison visiting room and saw me standing on the other side of the cell, she would immediately begin to shed tears. She was a strong woman, but the sight of her son undergoing such suffering made her weep. Mother, please don't shed tears over my hardships. I want you to be a mother who will encourage me to be bold and courageous. After consoling my mother, she handed me a pair of silk trousers and powdered rice and said, the prison uniform I was wearing had become threadbare. However, instead of wearing the silk trousers, I gave them to another prisoner. As for the miso kaburo that she had gone into debt to prepare, I gave it all away right there as she watched. My mother had invested her full heart and dedication into preparing clothing and food for her son, and she was heartbroken to see me giving away these things without keeping anything for myself. Mother, I'm not just a son of some man named Moon. Before I'm a son of the Moon clan, I'm a son of the Republic of Korea. And even before that, I'm the son of the world and a son of heaven and earth. I think it is right for me to love those things first. Only after that, follow your words and love you. I am not the son of some small-minded person. Please conduct yourself in a manner befitting your son. One night, after a whole day of hard labor, a group of fellow inmates came to me while dragging along another inmate, asking me to punish and scold him. I tried to calm everyone down and asked them what the commotion was about. I found out that these inmates stole my rice powder, and everyone else was extremely unhappy and disapproving of his actions. The prisoner who stole my rice powder was trembling in fear, begging for forgiveness. Seeing that he has repented for his mistakes, I took his hands gently, placed the rice back in them. The other prisoners were extremely shocked at the fact that I just gave my rice powder to the thief who was caught stealing it. I said, "You must have been very hungry for you to have done that." All the other inmates could not comprehend my actions and asked why I did that. I explained to them with a poem I wrote when I was 15. When I doubt people, I feel pain. When I judge people, it is unbearable. When I hate people, there is no value to my existence. Yet if I believe, I am deceived. If I love, I am betrayed. Suffering and grieving tonight, my head in my hands. Am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong. Even though we are deceived, still believe. Though we are betrayed, still forgive. Love completely even those who hate you. Wipe your tears away and welcome with a smile. Those who know nothing but deceit, and those who betray without regret. Oh Master, the pain of loving, look at my hands. Place your hand on my chest. My hand is bursting, my heart is bursting, such agony. But when I love this, those who acted against me, I brought victory. If you have done the same thing, I will give you the crown of glory. The Korean War had begun while I was imprisoned in Hyungan. 3 days after it started, the South Korean military lost the capital of Seoul and retreated farther south. Then, 16 nations with the United States in the lead formed the United Nations Force and intervened in the war. US forces landed at Incheon and pushed towards Wonsan, a major industrial city in North Korea. It was only natural for the Hyungan prison and factory to be targets for US aerial bombing operations. As the US military pushed further into the north, on the night of October 13, 1950, the military attacked Hyungan with full force. The bombing was so intense that it seemed all of Hyungan had been turned into a sea of fire. The high walls around the prison began to fall, and the gate of the prison that kept us in that place opened. At around 2 o'clock in the morning of October 14th, I was able to walk out of the Hyungan prison. I had been in prison for 2 years and 8 months. After escaping, I traveled all over Korea with the comrades I made in Hyungan prison. We went in search of people who loved heaven and shared the same vision as us of hoping to build a peaceful world. Many of them had their own families. Yet, instead of going back to their families, they went on this dangerous and difficult path together with me for the sake of all humankind.
You're truly the most Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for loving us so much, for always sacrificing yourself for others.
Wow, how touching. Did you enjoy the ski? Okay, the youth generation has taken weeks to prepare. As far as weeks to prepare for the ski, which conveys to the audience very clear theme and message. The players are either full-time NS men or full-time students. Some of them are even taking their O-level exams or taking projects. So despite that, they went the whole 9 yards, produced a skit from scratch, from idea brainstorming to script writing, creating the props to video production and editing, and spent many precious hours deep into the night to prepare and rehearse. You can sense the sincerity and total dedication. Don't you think they deserve another big round of applause? Good job, YJ.